also teaching dance and building a company. So fast forward, I started working with kids in under-resourced communities. I started working with kids that lived in communities like the one I grew up in. And I would just go in and teach them dance. I would do what someone very kindly did for me, and that's just see them for who they are, help them to develop their gifts, and then give them the resources they need to just be successful in day-to-day life. And organizationally, we started producing kids that were becoming professional talents in Hollywood. So you've seen our kids on programs like World of Dance. We have a So You Think You Can Dance winner. We have kids that dance and train and tour with artists like Jennifer Lopez, Rihanna, Britney Spears, Chris Brown, J-Lo, Usher. The list is very, very long. But all of this started in the process of me going to school and having someone invest in me and then being gifted the opportunity to invest in others. So I'll fast forward just a little bit. Once we started seeing the kids excel in their dance ability, we started doing some wraparound services. Again, what was deposited in me from one person by not just giving me what the textbook said I needed, but gifting me what I needed in the moment of life that I was in. I paid that forward and I made that a part of my business model. So a lot of the young people that we work with are young people that didn't just need a class, they were young people that needed something in the moment. So we have, my organization is called Studio T Arts and Entertainment. And we went from servicing 38 young people in 2013 to landing 2019, servicing just a little over 7,000 people and their young people and their families. And then we built a lot of programs that not only help them with their creative giftings, but also that help them with entrepreneurship. It helps them with financial management. It helps them with family management. It helps them with confidence building and faith building. And we found that those are the great sustainers. Those are what helps our kids, especially we deal with a lot of trauma-informed and at-risk young people and their parents. And we found that those are the ingredients that help them not just sustain, but survive and then thrive life. And again, if I could fast forward just a little bit, we hit 2020. And this is where it gets really fun for me. One of our areas of expertise, especially my area of expertise, is not just dealing with trauma-informed young people, but having the experience of being a trauma-informed young person growing up in Richmond, California. So with COVID hitting and a lot of our schools closing, which is where a lot of us get a lot of our quality services, a lot of our families were highly trauma informed. And so we became not just an organization to do creative arts and training and things of that nature. We started to offer wraparound social services and became a first responder through the arts. We had something that the kids wanted. In fact, a lot of people were taking to YouTube and Instagram and TikTok dancing. And so we became very popular by way of social emotional learning. And we developed a platform, distance learning platform, to serve our kids that were disconnected from school. And it became a nationwide tool used in our major school districts here in Northern California, but across the country. So we went from servicing 7,200 youth to 192,000 youth.
Wow.
And 7,800 educators across the country. I've also landed a post on an executive chair position on the Americans for the Arts Education Council, where we get to go in and do nationwide reform in how we're educating and loving and supporting and training young people in our family in very innovative ways. I've also landed a post on the Californians for the Arts Board. And again, that's statewide governance, making sure that we're using the arts in cultural and socially relevant ways so that we're not just developing dancers, we're developing leaders and we're supporting families. Now, I share all that for a reason to let you know that I was a CalWORKs student at Los Rios at ARC. And I had someone who didn't see me as a number. They saw me as a person. They did not take pity on me. They gave me the tools that I needed to succeed. And the very tools that they gifted me are the tools that I've been paying forward since then to thousands of young people and their family. And it's not just changing the lives of individuals, it definitely altered my life. It's changing thousands of people across the country. And I'm sharing that I always, whenever I get the opportunity to do so, to say thank you. I know that there are many of you on this call that you're a Michael Clevenger. I want you to know that what you do, what you've done, I'm a direct benefit and testimony of your goodness, your love, your compassion, and your heart for people. And so whenever I get the chance to say thank you, I try really hard to say thank you really big, and to make sure that you know that what you do and your passion for people and your desire to help, it absolutely works. And I'm a product of what you live. So thank you for giving me this opportunity just to share my story and your ripple effect. And my hope is that we get to do more of this together in the future.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. Stay on until we still have some more questions for you. But Aura, can you share your story?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Aura Spencer, and I currently work at Compton College in the CalWORKs office. I am a CalWORKs program specialist, and I have been working in CalWORKs for 13 years, not all at Compton College. I am a product of Cerritos College. And so I was a CalWORKs mom. So I owe my gratitude to the CalWORKs program at Cerritos. Norma Rodriguez was instrumental in kind of helping me define my my path and seeing that there was more for me than what I originally thought. And so I'm very grateful to her and everybody on the staff. My counselor, some of you might know, was Janice Pizer, and she was a force to be reckoned with. She was somebody that said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I don't know. What can I do?" You know, I really wasn't sure. I knew I was really good at beauty, and I had always wanted to be a cosmetologist. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then it just never seemed like it was enough. So I also took business classes at the same time. So I ended up graduating from Cerritos College and stayed on working there. I worked for disabled students programs and services and CalWORKs. And for a period of time, I also worked for the STEM program. But CalWORKs has been there pretty much the entire time. And then when I finished school there, I stopped going for a bit because I was a single mom and it was just me and my son. And I had promised him that if he gave me 2 years of his life, I would get my cosmetology degree. So I would be able to teach cosmetology, and then I would do the rest of my schooling piecemeal, little by little, so that it wouldn't affect, take all of the time away from him because he was really young. And I finished my degree and my certificates and got my license in cosmetology in 1 year and 10 months, and then stopped going to school for a bit. And life took a turn. I got sick. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia and cervical cancer in the same month. And I had built a really strong business. I had about 300 hair clients that I was seeing every month. And I love it. I have a passion for the field of beauty, and specifically the type of the beauty industry where you take the everyday woman and you help build her up and show her the beauty that's already within, and not try to commercialize it or have people be somebody other than what they already are. And so I had built a pretty successful business, and I was working part-time at the college because that was my clientele. You know, the college was feeding my business. And I decided, okay, I'm gonna, see how far this will go. And I got sick and I had to slowly shut down my business, and I stopped doing the beauty industry altogether and had to focus on just working. And so a full-time position opened up at Compton. And so for the last 6 years, I've been at Compton College as their program specialist, and it has afforded me the opportunity to continue my education. So I now have 2 bachelor's degrees from Brandman University. One is a bachelor's degree in business administration, and one is in entrepreneurship. And then I am currently in my master's program at UC Irvine, and it is also in innovation and entrepreneurship. And so I recently started a new business. It's an umbrella kind of business. I am doing the beauty part again, but I'm also now selling jewelry. And I started it during the pandemic in October, and it's almost to the point where I can now walk away from my job and do this full time. And the reason I chose the company that I chose was because it's affordable jewelry. It's $5 jewelry, and it can help people make money and help themselves get out of a situation where they don't qualify for cash assistance anymore, and they don't qualify for a lot of different programs, but they're kind of stuck in between and they want to move forward with their life. And so it's women empowering women. And so that's my new focus. And that's where my, that's the trajectory that all of my education has afforded me. So I'm really grateful for CalWORKs and everything that I gained from learning CalWORKs, from being on one side and being able to guide students, from telling them, I've sat in your chair before, I know exactly what you're going through, and I understand the trials and the having to deal with the county and having to deal with paperwork and all of that. So I know what you're going through. And when I tell you that I know, it's because I lived it. So I was really quiet about my story for a long time, and I realized that I wasn't going to be able to make an impact in people's lives if I didn't speak my truth. And the more I've told my story, and the more I've said, you can be anything that you want to be, and you are the only person that limits yourself. You can leave horrible relationships and situations. You don't have to stay because you're afraid that you can't take care of your kids, or that your kids might get taken away from you. So that's my focus, and it's been because of the amazing people, and really I've met so many people in all of these years that I worked for CalWORKs that have added so much to my life. And it is CalWORKs is a family, and it's an amazing program. So if people use it correctly, and if it's led by a great team, and it provides the services that it's supposed to, students should take full advantage of it. And each person that touches the life of a student, you have no idea how much you can actually enact change. And I mean, they didn't just change the future for me, but they changed the future for my son. You know, he's now finished with his associate's degree as well, and he has to continue on with his education. And he knows, because it's expected of him to hit at least where I go. You know, if I was able to do it as a single mom working and trying to figure it out, it's expected of him as well. So please know that it's people like you, it's all of the advisors and the counselors and the directors and the support staff that really make it a family, and it really, really, really changes the way that you view the entire world. So thank you all for everything that you do, and just know that I know some days are really hard. You know, this pandemic has been not so easy, but at the same time, it's really appreciated, and the lives that you touch, you will have no idea how far your reach will have spread. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Aura. I'm going to go to Ani Hakaverdian. She'll tell her story.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Garcia, for inviting me to this meeting. I'm glad to be here and share my story. I agree with you that it's not easy to be a CalWORKs student. which means to be a parent student, in the meantime, have financial difficulties. I remember when I was complaining to my friends at that time that I have so much things to do, they would recommend, prioritize the things that you need to do. Just do the things that is most important for you and for your family. And I would say, yes, sure. Then later I would think, which one is less important, doing my homework or make sure my kids are doing their homework? Which one is less important, to be prepared to the exam or miss my kids' parent conference? And I found energy and I was doing all those things as any other CalWORKs student. But then what's interesting that CalWORKs students, most of us have additional obstacles on top of this struggle, these responsibilities that we have. And in my case, that additional obstacle was that I was an immigrant. And that meant I had left in Armenia everything that I have achieved through my life up to that point. I left my support system, family, friends, connection that I developed during my professional life. And also, I didn't know English. That part was killing me. How I felt, I wasn't able to understand others, and others couldn't understand me. Basically, I was feeling isolated. At that time, I had very low self-esteem. It was impacted me really negatively. And besides, when I was seeing my classmates, how they were doing their homework, just listening to the lecture, and in the meantime, just doing their homework, where I needed to be really focused during the class, then go home. I have my textbook on my hand and my dictionary on the other hand. And sometimes I needed to translate each word in the sentence. Then when I put those words together, it didn't make any sense. Then I needed to go on YouTube, find the lecture, listen the topic, understand, then come back to my homework. It was really time consuming, really. And I have been in this situation for 4 to 5 years. Then sometimes I would ask myself how I was able to, feeling that bad, but wake up every morning and go to class and do what I have to do. So some people may say, because you were strong, you were determined. I would say, yes, I don't have to be humble today, but there is this factor that wasn't me. I was lucky enough to go to LACC to meet with amazing CalWORKs people. And recently I read an article about which group of students are successful. And I was surprised and also very happy that finally people in education can value those things and can give to students who need that. One was the student needs to feel that they are connected to their school. It was CalWORKs program in my case. You belong to that school. The staff and faculty, they are not viewing you as a student number, as you mentioned, yes, as a student who is here to get the grade and say goodbye. No, they develop this personal relationship with the student. The student really feel that they care about them. And also they know that the staff and faculty, your teachers will be happy for you and will be sad when you failed and will be there to help you. All these things, and I mentioned that I lost my support. I didn't lose. I left my support. I don't know why. I came here, but I found my second family, second support system, and that was CalWORKs. And I'm here, and I have the job that I love to do. I'm a student support counselor, and also I'm an associate marriage and family therapist. Basically, I provide counseling in English because of CalWORKs LACC. I cannot thank you enough for this. Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Thank you for believing in me, even in the times when I was doubting myself, when I was hesitant if I can do this. Thank you very much. And I do the same for my students now.
There you go. Thank you. And we have Terry Hawthorne on here, and she will tell her story. Terry?
Hi, my name is Terry Hawthorne. I'm the counselor and coordinator for workforce preparation, or CalWORKs, at Moreno Valley College. Now, our audience our CalWORKs Association people, or do you just have that on your screen?
CalWORKs Association.
Okay. So I know a lot of the people out there. I just can't see you, but I know you. Basically, I was introduced to CalWORKs many years ago. I was a 14-year-old teen parent. So I had my first son when I was 14, and I was on CalWORKs for 10 years. And when I grew up in Watts, so it was, you know, it was an impoverished area, still is an impoverished area. And there were no professionals in my family or in my community really to look up to. So when I grew up, I just kind of, my mom used to say, you're smart, you can get a good job. I didn't really know, you know, she didn't know where or what to tell me, because she worked in a bathing suit factory, and those nice little strings you have on your bathing suit, she spent her whole day tying knots on the end of those for less than a penny each knot. And breaking out, her arms would break out from the chemicals they put on the fabric. So I knew that I didn't want to do that, but I didn't know what to do. And I didn't really have a lot of family support other than my mother. So when it was time to graduate from high school and get out of high school, I had met a friend. That friend told me, Terry, you're smart, you can go to college. She went to college on scholarships. She invited me to Cal State Fresno and showed me all around. And the whole time I'm thinking, like, you know, this is not me. This is not people that I know. This is not the neighborhood. Like, my people don't do this. And it felt very foreign to me. The friend that I had met, she grew up, she went to Dorsey High School, which at that time, that was a much more affluent area than Watts was. So I didn't really feel like I connected with that friend, but she held on to me tight. And the last thing she showed me was, she showed me the financial aid office, and she told me I could get financial aid, and she told me about the EOP program. And so at that moment, something clicked in my mind, and I said, a check? They're going to pay me to go to college? I will go. And that was my only motivation and purpose, was to, you know, I figured something good would come out of college, but I didn't have any other direction. So I ended up applying for Fresno as well as San Diego State, and got in under EOP, which at that time, you know, I didn't meet, like, I hadn't taken a foreign language. I didn't really meet the qualifications, but I was able to get in and start going. So I chose San Diego State because San Diego just seemed more appealing than Fresno. And that's where my baby daddy wanted to go. So, I mean, that sounded like, you know, the best thing going in my life at that time. And so I got into San Diego State. I went there. He went to jail, got an EOP, and I just kind of floundered around and took classes. I had no idea what I was doing. And one of the accomplishments I was able to make there in my, at that time when we had like basic skills, I wrote a paper for that basic skills class, and they published it, and they said they wanted to use it to show other students. So it gave me a little bit of, you know, like, oh, okay, I can be successful. Transferred to Cal State Northridge again, following the baby daddy. And he got out of jail. He didn't quite make it to Northridge. He went back to jail, but I went to Northridge because that's where he lived when he got out of jail. And so ended up having a second child at 20, just kind of hung in there at Cal State Northridge. And by the end, after 6 years of kind of just going in and out of classes and, you know, taking all these classes and not really having any direction, but just knowing that I'm going to graduate one day for now, this financial aid and this path is working for my life, and enhancing my CalWORKs, and always feeling different and judged, you know, especially saying that I had a child at 14. That was really difficult. That was a layer. Coming from Watts was another layer. Having my my daughter's father in prison, that was another layer of shame. And I remember my EOP counselor talking to me like, you know, it's time to pick a major. And she was just kind of going through majors. And she would give me a little snippet about, you know, business. This is what you can do. This is what you can do. She finally got to fashion merchandising. And I said, shopping? I love shopping. That's what I want to do. And I, you know, just no connection. And so all of this just kind of floundering through the system and wandering around like a transient in the education system is really what kind of built me today. So I finally graduated from Cal State Northridge. One of my professors told me about a job. I went into corporate America and an executive training program, and decided, like, I felt so unfulfilled, so unhappy. I came home from work every day and I thought, this is what I was striving for. You know, I'm off CalWORKs, I'm excited, but my life feels very empty. And one of the natural things about me that I did was I kind of would encourage the other people. I was placed in a Sears store in my training program, and I was going around telling everybody, you can go to college because I make more than all of you guys. There were managers that worked there for 10 years that, you know, strive to get to like manage the shoe department, and they made like half of what I made in this executive training program. So that's kind of how I got my start in career. And then within that area, what I was doing, I was hiring, and I ended up connecting with a nonprofit organization that worked with pregnant and parenting teens who were on CalWORKs. And then they had some voluntary clients who were not on CalWORKs. But that's kind of how I got my first introduction to the professional world of CalWORKs. So I started being a CalLearn case manager. I talked my way into that job with my fashion merchandising degree and my a bachelor's degree, but my life experience is what really got me into that, and my love to talk and share with other people. And so, you know, when I got to that job, I had to take a big pay cut. I think it was like almost $10,000 a year, but I absolutely fell in love with working with teen parents. And for the first time in my life, I was able to be proud of being a teen parent and feeling like it had meaning. Like, yes, you know, all of this stuff that happened in my life happened for a reason. I found my purpose. And so I worked there for about a year, decided everybody there was going for a master's in social work. And I still really didn't have any direction, but I thought, okay, if they're going for a master's in social work, then I must need to do that because maybe I'll, you know, enhance my career that way. Fast forward, got hired by the county, took another pay cut, and actually started working for like, you know, a job that didn't even require a bachelor's, because the state of California has a Title IV program where they will allow you to, they'll pay for your master's degree in social work. And the county, San Bernardino County, which is the county I ended up working for, they had a program that basically is kind of like a 20/20 program where I worked part-time, but I got paid full-time and I got to go to school. So I worked with the county. I was an eligibility worker with Cash Aid, which is now CalWORKs. I was working there in '96, started with CalWORKs when it went from AFDC to CalWORKs. So I got to experience the other side of the counter. I got to, you know, be that worker where clients were coming in, they were defensive, they already felt like I was going to judge them. I got to see how building the relationship on that side, most of the clients that I had, like 99.9%, were very thankful that I was not judgmental, because you can feel judgment. You can feel it when someone feels like they're superior or when they're taking pity on you. You don't have to say a word. You don't have to use one derogatory statement. But if, you know, if there's anything, everybody should be checking their own emotional boundaries and their own personal thoughts of how you're thinking of other people. I don't care if the person is homeless. I don't care if they're gang banging. I don't care if they're formerly incarcerated. You really have to check your own internal, because judgments come out. When you think, you know, someone is here and you're here and you need to, you know, take pity on them and help them because, you know, you have more or whatever, all of that comes out in the energy that's relayed between you and another person. And so everybody except for one, I had one client that just I wasn't able to break that barrier with her, but I saw how much of a difference it made, and I heard it from my clients. I became a child care CalWORKs person. I transitioned from eligibility to of AFDC, food stamps, cash aid, and Medi-Cal into childcare. And then when I was in my master's program, I did legislation and research. So I worked on the policy side and admin side. That's what I thought I wanted to do. No therapy, no interpersonal stuff. Absolutely not. And for those of you who know me and who have been to some of my workshops, you know, like I'm all about therapy now. My master's program at Loma Linda University totally transformed me. Graduated from there, became a traditional social worker. I worked for Child Protective Services. I investigated child abuse and neglect, you know, right up front investigations. Done all that. I've been a medical social worker at 3 different hospitals, home health. I've been an adoption social worker, and I've done adoption finalizations, which is something that attorneys usually do, but you don't need an attorney. You can have someone who's a master's level social worker. I have also been a therapist at a group home. And then at some point I found my way to working in the community college system and absolutely fell in love. Every single job that I've ever had, all of my life experience, and you know, including like I worked at Southern California Gas Company at one point as a customer service person. Every professional that I've come in contact with, whether it had been at the hospital or one of those, you know, many different social work things that I've done or the business things I've done, all just fell right into place and gave it true meaning. And my first job, I was working with EOPS and care at Mount San Jacinto College. I've done work with veteran students. I've started up first year experience programs. I've done just so many things, and the passion and excitement for connecting students to careers really is where I've always counseled from. And it's so funny to me that guided pathways is like this brand new concept. But when I was doing it, I've always worked that way. People would always say it's backwards counseling, right? Oh, you do backwards counseling because you start with the career. I can't tell you just the journey and the learning, you know, of coming to the place where I'm now the CalWORKs counselor and coordinator for the last 10 years at Moreno Valley College, and the opportunity to just do things like I wrote a book with Carolyn Khalil, the best-selling author of True Colors, and True Colors is now Inner Heroes. We wrote a book together, specifically targeting CalWORKs EOPS students and first-generation students. Just the joy that I have experienced in finding my passion. And, you know, I could be a little different than other people. I'm a little stubborn and I don't really care what people think about me. Thanks to my crazy family who didn't accept me. But, you know, a lot of our students are not that way. You know, they really, like I've heard several panel members say, like our students need us to build them up. They need to hear our stories. They need to know, you know, just even little things. I remember sharing with the student that when I was in college and I was a CalWORKs student, I had a 1974 Volkswagen Bug. And I liked that car because I could push it myself without help. But one time, you know, I was struggling, the car broke down. I couldn't get anybody to come help me with it. And so people kept telling me, you just need to get your gas tank steam clean so you could take the gas tank out. I bought the book because we didn't have the internet, wasn't popping back then. So I bought the manual. We used to have these books you can buy that would tell you everything about your car. And I took all those gas lines out. I took all the bolts out. I got that gas tank to the transmission shop, got it steam clean, put it back in the Volkswagen Bug, and I put all the lines, gas lines back on it. And when that car started up, I was jumping up and down in the parking lot, so excited. And I had a student who told me, you know what? If you can do that, I can catch the bus. I'm gonna keep going. I'm not gonna drop out of school. So our stories are important, and our students need to know that we're human. We need to be humble, and we need to make those connections wherever they may be. So that is my story.
This is awesome. We're hearing a lot of folks, saying on the chat, thank you for your story. It's emotional to them, and this is good for us to hear it, because we're in the front lines, and sometimes we don't want to get like, I believe all county workers come in there with a purpose. But I think with all the things, the rigors that go along with all the legislation that they have to go through, they become bottled and do see a case number. And I don't want us as CalWORKs staff and directors to see student IDs, where we always want to be a customer service, people that we want to make a connection. So, but there's something in this, and something that we always struggle with our students, and I want you to tell me, how did you do it? In CalWORKs is a stigma, and Terry, you talked about layers. Well, there's layers in CalWORKs of racism, layers of low income, layers of immigrants who are coming to this country, like Ani. There are layers of people who are homeless and having mental situations that's going on in their lives. Variety of layers that are built in, and then you have the political layer that look at CalWORKs as people to the other side. Matter of fact, at some of our campuses, we're the last ones that they think of when it's talking about equity programs and a variety of other things. We're the last ones. And so, how did you all find your voices, and how do you can help us in assisting others in finding their voices? Anybody could go.
I'll go. I think one of the ways that really helped me was stuff like this. Like you all gave me the opportunity to share my story. You gave me a platform to share my story, and it did a couple of things. Number one, it reinforced what I've done, because sometimes when you're in the thick of the battle, you don't understand the progress you're making, because you're just accustomed to fighting to win, fighting to survive. So when you have the opportunity to voice what you've accomplished, it cements something in you, but it empowers other people. And that in empowering other people shows you your value. Mm-hmm. So giving them a platform, giving us a platform to share our stories, share our successes, share where we've stepped on landmines, but it didn't kill us and we kept going. All of that lends to strengthening the individual, strengthening your system. And I would also say teaching them, I know it was mentioned that therapy or counseling was a thing, but even using counseling in the form of creative expression is a big thing for me. And it's a big thing for the thousands of young people and educators I work with, but offering some method of documenting your successes, whether it's through film. A lot of my kids make movies. Whether it's through journaling and sharing short stories, essays that can be shared with other people, but documenting what you're doing in a creative way, and then offering the ability to share it. And I find that that has been a huge strengthening factor and a propellant forward for me. And it's something that I practice with the demographic of young people that I engage with, and I see it working every day.
Good. Anybody else?
Yeah, I would like to add, normalizing. A lot of times people look at people who they deem successful. They look at us. I always say, you look at us and you see us in these, these suits, and they can't connect the dots that I was once a teen parent who was on CalWORKs for 10 years, unless I share that, letting them know all of the different successful people, famous people even, who had struggles and have come from struggles, and normalize it and show them that, we're all normal people, and you have a path, and I can help you find your path to get there.
Okay. Anyone else want to try it?
Yeah. So my approach was, when I was in those situations, I would tell myself, don't empower the other person to define you. That is not about you. That is about the other person. That was my approach.
Okay, sounds good. Connie? Or?
So my my biggest takeaway that I have is, like everybody else, there's a huge stigma on saying that you are receiving welfare benefits. And I didn't grow up in a family that that was okay. That was one of those things that was like, oh, no, you don't talk about that. That's not something that we do. That's not who we are. And it's like, but that is who I am. I am a single mom, and I am raising a child by myself without any financial assistance. And I can't make it on my own. And so when there's help, it's okay to take help when you need it, and breaking that stigma that you can't ask for help. You have to figure out a way to do it. Yes, it was a pride swallowing siege to go to the store and have to use your EBT card. It was embarrassing. And of course, they always give you a really hard time when you're using your card, like it just came out of their pocket. So I completely understand when students are like, I'm over it. I get it. I was over it too. And I was grateful for the help, but it did teach me a lot about how people lose their humanity, and people lose their ability to connect. And we need to stop looking at people as they're just there for a handout. The most amazing people that I have met in my life have been students from Compton College that have experienced some tragedies, and still they remain resilient, and they persevere, and they tell themselves, I am never going to let this be my child. I am going to change the future for that. And one of the things that I say all of the time, and I heard this from somebody else, so I stole it, it's not mine, but I remind people when they feel like they're being judged by others because they're on CalWORKs, I say, those people don't pay rent to take up space in your head. They don't pay rent to take up space in your head. Don't give them the privilege or the satisfaction of them making you feel small or unworthy or like you're not as good. You don't know. Everybody has their own story, and everybody's gotten to where they are on their own. And I have to tell each one of the panelists that each one of your stories was amazing, and thank you so much for sharing them with me. And Ani, I have to tell you that your story touched me because I'm first generation born here. My mom is from Mexico, and my dad is white. He's Caucasian, but I am first generation college graduate. And my mom came here and didn't speak English, and she came at a time where everything wasn't in Spanish, And so when I think about, because that's ESL students are the ones that touch me the most, when I think about how hard it is to come from another country and have to navigate a system that's already putting you in a place where you feel very uncomfortable, but to do it and not have even known the language, props to you. I mean, really, honestly, your story touched me. So I'm proud of you. And just remember that it's people like you that give so many people hope that they can live that American dream, you know, that they can make a difference for your kids. Your kids, they can't use the excuse that they don't, you know, your family, like you did it, you know. So I hope that you feel proud of yourself, Ani, because you did something really amazing. Not that the other ladies weren't amazing too. You all were. But to do it in a different language, I admire you so much, Ani.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you very much.
So I want to ask you, because you guys were CalWORKs molded, you know, what's the line that I want to use? CalWORKs built, so to speak. But you gone beyond CalWORKs. So as women in this society, with you know, it could be machoistic at times. We see the things in life where women are not paid the same rate as men. And there's just so many things. You know, I love what's happening with the new administration. That, you know, there's a child care tax break for families, and that's helped a lot of, especially single women, out. But what has been your challenge that you could tell us, being just women? You know, as a man, I want to know what has been your challenges just being women? Because we may have another, you know, women with families. We may have other theories as men, but what can you tell me? What's been your challenges?
I'll start.
Oh, okay.
Is that okay? For me, I am a feminist, super feminist, and I have just one son. And for me, it was a challenge to raise him in a way that he didn't have his father in his life. His father chose not to be part of it. And but to raise him in a way that he was still going to be masculine enough that my femininity wouldn't overshadow his masculinity, but that he would still be able to see and understand women on a perspective of and I do notice that, and people that have met my son, he's 22 now, and he is amazing. He has an understanding of women that most men don't, because he has seen the things that I've had to sacrifice and the things that I've had to go without, and he's noticed, and he's told me, Mom, I know that you went without for me. I didn't have to say anything, because he could see that, and now he sees it in his friends that are making babies and leaving children around, and he's like, why would you do that? So I think for me, that the biggest takeaway has been making sure that I have taught my son that it is not okay to go around making babies that you are not going to take care of, that you are not going to be a part of their lives. If you make a baby, that baby is your baby, and that's your responsibility. And it is not up to the mama to sacrifice all of her dreams and all of her goals so that just she's stuck now with this one baby, and maybe has I call him Peter Pan dad or Disneyland dad. You know, some dads are really amazing, awesome dads, but they're few and far between. And so it is awesome to know that my son knows that if he makes a baby, that baby is his responsibility as much as the mom. And for that reason, he's chosen not to have children, because he sees that there's so many children in this world that don't have that other partner. So for me, it's been raising a son to be a good, strong man that came from CalWORKs and knows not to leave somebody else in a life where they'll head to CalWORKs. You know, not that We don't want to help people. We do, but we don't want to see people suffer.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll chime in here. I would say two things in particular, one of which is I was never afforded the opportunity to quit or pause in the midst of all of the trauma and the drama and the setbacks and the challenge. Like, I had 3 kids, 2 of them had health challenges. I had no money. We're living in a hotel. Like, quit was never an option. Shrink back was never an option. So I think one of the challenges where my kid's dad, he had options. He could transition to another relationship. He could come and you know, visit when he visited and not when he not. But that was culturally, that was a cultural norm. That's what my dad did. That's what my mom's dad did, and so on. So it wasn't something that was foreign to me, but it was a challenge because that wasn't something that we just don't do that. We don't do it. So you suck it up, buttercup, and get her done. But that was hard. It was very hard. And then wanting to be a proper example, wanting them to not repeat some of the challenges, you know, that you go through. Like, you have to constantly be in fight mode just to keep making it. And so I would say that that's not something that broke me. It's something that made me, but it was difficult. And I would say the second challenge is I had to give myself permission a lot of the time. I had to give myself permission to be okay with success, the success that I've been experiencing. I had to allow myself to congratulate myself sometimes. That was a foreign thing to me. I had to give myself permission to be happy. And that was a frequent thing. I think you get in a system or a process of abuse. Even when no one is abusing you, you can develop the tendency to abuse yourself. And most times it's internal. So I had to give myself permission to talk some of these things out, be open, be vulnerable, be visible to people. That was a foreign thing, and that was a difficult thing because, again, culturally, how I was groomed and who I had to be. You got to be hard, and you got to fight, and you got to win, and you don't ever show your weaknesses. You don't ever show your vulnerability to people, because that's the potential for breach, and that's the potential for abuse, and that's the potential for pain. So again, some of the challenges in going through this stretch of life so far was to give myself permission to find joy, give myself permission to discover. In the process, I shifted. I was this person, but then I became this new person, but I never gave myself time to get to know the new person. What does this new person enjoy? Am I allowed to enjoy these things? And when you're in survival mode, you eat for survival. You don't eat for enjoyment. So I'm in a stage of time, even now, where I'm just like, I actually like salmon. Where before I hated salmon, but I hated salmon because I couldn't afford salmon. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that I'm finding in this season that have not been easy. But you know, I'm in the ring still, giving myself permission to enjoy the life that I fought to build, and then gifting my children permission to not apologize that they are not where I was when I was their age, to enjoy the level of life that they're at. And baby, you go have some new problems. I already beat these.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Good. That's good. Anybody else in this on this panel? If not, I'm going to open it up for questions from the.
I have something to add. Okay. So one of the things that was most difficult for me as a woman, and especially as a CalWORKs woman from the inner city, was just learning how to be assertive and professional. And I think Miss T said, like, you know, coming from where I came from, you could not show any weakness or vulnerability. And if somebody said something to you or did something, you had to really come real strong, because if you didn't, you would be what we call punked. And so I had to deal with the inner challenges of, you know, understanding that this is a different world and a different life. How can I be assertive and still be professional, but allow my voice to be heard. Because, you know, even in a professional environment, especially as a woman, sometimes the men in the environment will, you know, just kind of not listen to you, or, you know, you'll say an idea and then all of a sudden you hear that idea come from one of the men in the room, and it's, oh, that sounds exactly like what I said, or what I said last week or last month. And, you know, just not being able to, you know, step to them too strong. But, you know, I say, don't apply hood rules to the professional environment. And, but, you know,
well understood.
still validated and doing the internal work needed, you know, meaning therapy, reading self-help books, talking to the other healers in my circle, to be able to come to be the woman that I am today and feel confident, and that I do belong. You know, I'm not somebody who people are giving that energy, that judgmental energy to, and even if they do, that it doesn't reflect me, like Anna said. You know, it's about them. It doesn't come into my emotional realm.
Okay. If Ani, if you have something to say to that, if not, I'm gonna open it up to questions to our the participants.
You can open it up. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So everyone who wants to ask a question to our esteemed panelists, please do so. Anyone who wants to ask a question, please open up your mics, and also, if you want to, you could be on video as well. Anyone with questions?
Hi, Ray, this is Blanca.
Okay.
Thank you for your leadership, Ray, and your vision in bringing together this awesome and diverse panel for us. It's been so inspiring, and I can't think of a better way to end the week than with these motivational messages that are just so inspiring to me and make me want to do more for the program that I lead at Southwest College. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Ladies, in one word, just one word, using one word, what one word would you use to describe CalWORKs and what it has done for you?
Empowered me.
Empowerment.
Supportive.
I missed the question. Something happened with my tech. That's why you can't see me. But if we're throwing out words, I would say love.
Oh,
Love.
Never fails.
For me, it would be hope.
Hope.
That there was hope. That
Oh.
I could still be something, even though I had made all of these mistakes. I could still be something. It wasn't too late.
Good.
Thank you, ladies, and I hope you don't mind, because we will be using these one-word responses. We're making a video for the Annual Training Institute for CalWORKs, and I wanted to get these one-word definitions of how you feel and you think about CalWORKs to include in our video. So thank you so much.
Okay. Anybody else has a question? Janie?
Hi, I'm Janie Angleton. I used to be a CalWORKs client many years ago. I've been a welfare to work worker for the last 18 years. So I just wanted to really thank everybody for sharing their stories. And it just makes me so believe in education as the way to go for our CalWORKs clients, because as you know, there's work requirements too. And sometimes it's a struggle for us as welfare to work workers to get the people that need to approve everything to see how important education is. But I'm just a total believer in it. I'm here in Santa Barbara County, and I have quite a few students on my caseload, and you know, they are the success stories. They really are. And I just so enjoy working with students, and you guys just proved to me why I keep doing this after 18 years, you know. students are the way to go. So rah, rah. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you for your comments, and it's awesome that we have our partners here as well. And because of your voice, that in your area of work, empowers our students to go to school. And so you are the front lines, and I just want to thank you for doing so.
My pleasure.
Okay. Any other questions? If no one has any other questions, I would like to ask one question of our panelists before you leave. Is this, things are changing with CalWORKs. There's a new bill that just came out, and so I forget the name of the bill. Blanca will scream it out in a minute for me. But the bill is basically changes the way we do things on a day-to-day basis, as far as CalWORKs is concerned, as far as the game workers or SB 1232. There you go, SB 1232, and that's basically is going to change the way we do business on both sides, whether it's welfare to work and the CalWORKs program. Basically, what it's going to do is there's no more assessments per se. That should have started January 1st, but the state was slow to roll it out to the different counties. And so how can the CalWORKs program, or even the county, since we have our partners here, how can we assist you even more to get where you need to be? How can we, what can we do to more beyond what you know that we do? What can we do more?
I'm gonna just jump in. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, just jump in. Anybody.
I think that the transition, I know that the students that I see a lot of the times don't understand, and I know like your caseloads are tremendous. I don't envy you. I can't even imagine how many people you have to deal with on a daily basis. But if there was a more connected transition, like county hands off to the person, that I think would bit easier for students. I know that we lose them somehow when they're trying to connect because they come into the wrong office on campus, or nobody knows what they're talking about, or they don't really know what it is that they're doing. They just have papers that they have to fill out for the county, but they don't know what programs. So being able to explain to the student or connect the student directly with the person or the liaison on the campus, I think will save a lot of students from the anguish and the frustration, and explaining that it is a process and each school does it a little bit differently depending upon their district and their college's processes. So if we could do that, or even if we have a student that's coming from one campus to a different campus, understanding that it's still very different, night and day from one campus to another, based upon the rules and requirements of that particular district. So if we could do that, I think it would really help future students.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
One thing that we do in Santa Barbara County is that we have outreach workers over at the college, and that helps bridge the gap. I also wanted to do a little bragging of a program that we just got this year where we're actually buying laptops for the students now, which has really been a great thing to do for them.
Yes. A lot of the counties, including LA County, has started that. Probably LA County did it a couple of years ago, but that's been a great help. As a matter of fact, some of the counties are helping even with internet services, paying for the internet services. So that's a plus, especially during this pandemic time period. Anyone else?
I do. I have something to add. So one of the things that was done in Riverside County, we had a partnership with the county, and they had an HR person that would sit on our advisory board in CalWORKs. And so one of the things, they have internships in the county. And what they did was they had our CalWORKs students, like right when they were getting around 60 units, were placed in some of the gain offices. And they were very instrumental in recruiting other students because they were students at the college. They were still on CalShade. They were still, you know, gain clients, and the students, it just really built up so many people's confidence. And so I think, you know, if that, those kind of partnerships and would help with like what Ara said with the handoffs, and the counties, you know, every county does things different, but those type of best practices, I wish they would survey those things and put those best practices in a place like that. The internships, it just touches, you know, recruitment, it touches job experience, it touches so many different layers that I wish we could do that.
Okay, sounds good. Anybody else? Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple things. One is understanding that there can be a cultural exchange with English being your first language. We had a number of different, I had a number of different situations where I didn't have somebody in position that understood my vernacular. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes.
So having someone that is from the community that our students are from, that can kind of be a bridge or a co-communicator, especially when this is their first time college experience. And for my family, that was a big thing. For the young people that we service, that's a very big thing, because most of them are first time college students. So they're going into a totally different culture with systems and structures that they've never navigated before, without the services that they're accustomed to in their schools, their Title I schools, or their counselors, or people that know them and have known them for years and can communicate on their behalf, where they lose all of that even when they go to a junior college, they lose all of that. So that has always been a big game changer for my young people. And then again, for me personally, Michael Clevenger was that guy for me. And then secondly, offering some kind of entrepreneurial training. I find that, again, most young people that we work with, most people today are highly entrepreneurial, and sometimes we need the added ability to make side hustle money, or just use our gifts and talents and be taught how to monetize them. Education, phenomenal. Entrepreneurship plus education, game changer. So if you could even have workshops with other entrepreneurs that represent the community or the vein of things that they have an interest in, just so that they can be inspired with ideas, that has been monumental, especially during the pandemic, for the client base that we're serving. So education plus entrepreneurship, it changes your financial picture and your trajectory and your social economical status.
I would like to endorse Ms. T as a speaker in that field of entrepreneurship, as well as Aura Spencer, because they're doing it, and also Terry Hawthorne is also doing some entrepreneurship with her writing and stuff like that, and Ani is going to be soon about to do that. So these will be great speakers for your college. Get in contact with me. I will send you their information, and they will be able to inspire your students like never before. That sounds like somebody else, like never before. Like our last president, never before. Okay, so I just want to thank you all for being here with us. You have inspired us in so many ways, and this is just gives us more power, more strength, more commitment to doing what we need to do, because your stories is real. You know, it's nothing that we have read about, nothing that some other colleges has told us about. No, you're telling us that you guys made it, You guys were from CalWORKs, and we are able to bring you on or to tell us your story, and also to bring you on to tell your story to our students. And that's important because our students need to see success, and we see success in you all. I want to thank you all. I don't know if anyone wants to say anything else here, but I just want to thank you again.
Can I say thank you, Ray? Thank you for, I think it makes all the difference in the world when somebody can see you. And you have a gift in not just recognizing the gift in other people, but also empowering them to share the gift that they are with other people so that they can bring about change. So you've done that from day one when we met, and I just want to say thank you. I can't even tell you the magnitude of what it's done in my life, in my company, just to have somebody not just see you, but also believe in you enough to give you an opportunity to share who you are with the rest of the world. So I say thank you. And I also say, may it come back to you 100 times, the gift that you've given us to be able to share our stories today. May it come back to you 100 times. And when it comes back to you, know that it's because of what you've gifted. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, and thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it, and I will definitely tell other welfare to work workers how important it is to come to these.
Oh, definitely. We will definitely. Matter of fact, we will have you feature one day. Okay, we will have the counties featured, because I think it is important, because it is a partnership. It is a partnership, and we can't do our job as well if you're not doing. If you do your jobs, how should I say it? I'm saying it wrong. If we're not partnering together and doing what we need to do, the outcome of what we see here won't come out as 100%. We try to reach that 100%. And so, Janie, I just want to say to you from Ray Garcia and the CalWORKs Association, we want to partner with you. We want to continue to build this, and I appreciate everything that you have to say today. Okay, everyone. Thank you all for being here. And like someone said on here, like Blanca said, ladies rock. That's right, ladies rock.
Pass it on, everybody.
Okay. Love you all. Take care.